Hello, fellow guitar geeks, and welcome to Making Money with Guitars, the show in which I talk to people who are in the music business and they make money from it. Today, a massive super nerd warning. Today I'm talking to pedal builder from KMA Audio Machines. It's Enrico Preuss, and he makes pedals such as this, the Cirrus and the Logan. And he's going into extreme detail about how he started his business, how he sees his business growing, and how he predicts the future will be for KMA Audio Machines. So, without further ado, I really hope you enjoy the show. Let's go over to the chat and meet Enrico. Hello, welcome to Making Money with Guitars. Today, I've got a pedal builder, and his name is Enrico, wait for it, Preuss. I think I've got that near close to it. Enrico, welcome to the show. Hi.
Hi, Andy. Yeah, it's pretty close. Was almost perfect.
Thanks.
So.
I panicked. I put myself up.
Good job. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I saw it.
Good. Well, we can go away from the formal stuff now and get back to how we were chatting exactly before. You're from KMA.
Yeah. Let me say I'm KMA Audio Machines. So sure. I'm the founder of the whole company and started everything a couple of years ago. I think it was 6 years ago. Something like this. So we founded the company in 2014. November or December, actually. Can't remember probably.
No, I'll let you off for the month, but it's been a while, and KMA Audio Machines has been really getting on my radar recently. I had a few of your pedals about a year ago, did a demo for the Fuzzly Bear, sorry.
The Fuzzly Bear,
sorry. That's on the channel as a gear in 90 seconds. I love fuzz, and it's certainly like it. There's so many different flavors of fuzz that it certainly fit in, to my family. Not that I've quite honestly ever got rid of a fuzz once I had it, but one could even say you don't need, like 10 big muffs or 10 fuzz faces, but you can always find a place for them.
Yeah, that's the thing. From a collector's point of view, it's totally worth having different versions.
Yeah.
So there's even a reason for keeping up with 10 big muffs. Just look at the cabinet of J Asics.
Yeah.
With a huge big muff collection. That's a reason.
Absolutely. As a player, and certainly as a person that has to make money from doing stuff like this, I don't need to have them, but I want them. And
yeah, we all want them.
And I guess that's what pedals are. I guess it's an extra little flavor, and somehow you're taking people's money by building them. How dare you?
Yeah, I know. But in return, you're getting a lot of creativity back. I mean, at least this is one of my main aim to create musical gear for musicians, which would push their creativity to a new certain level and give you the possibility to discover new kind of flavors or new playing styles, stuff you never thought you would play just because of one pedal.
True.
And it's something it's a feedback we're getting back from customers quite often.
Okay, so you're pushing them in new creative directions. That's great. That's my favorite thing about pedals is when you can just plug one in and something comes out that would not normally come out of your guitar.
Yeah.
I had a similar story with chorus recently. I've never been a fan of chorus, and then I plugged in. I can't remember what the pedal was, but I plugged it in. It was so much fun.
Yeah, it is. Chorus pedals are great.
I'm still not convinced, but I'm now the door's open. Before the door was closed. I just haven't walked through that door yet to push that metaphor even further.
Yeah, just take a bit of time.
Yeah.
You would just pass the door, definitely. I mean, my moment of chorus was about I got in a big Ibanez analog multi-effect guitar per unit with a tube drive, with a tube screamer, with a delay. I think it was an BBD analog bass delay, and a chorus, and also with preset savings. And there was one preset saved by the customer, which was the tube drive with a bit of the tube screamer boosted into a chorus and a delay. It was just magical. It just started to play. It was like perfect 80 sound. And we're having a huge workshop here. It's about 80 square meters. And the ambient reflections, the natural reverb gave you such a nice, inspiring area. It was great. It was like, oh yeah, definitely. I have to go more in depth when it comes to chorus stuff.
Sure, so you need that space to create. I guess I was never a fan of 80s guitar. I was kind of the anti-80s, so that's possibly why.
So more the grungy.
Yeah, that was my side, and even that,
punky,
even Nirvana, which was one of my inspirations, had chorus, and I still couldn't get onto it. But never mind. Do you do a chorus? I feel bad in asking that.
No, we're not having a chorus. Not now. There's something in my head which is saying we definitely want to go on the chorus vibrato line, but I don't want to go more in detail what it's based on, what's the platform around. So
it's fine. Nice to have a little nugget of a tease there. So you.
But it has to be done.
Everyone needs. I think every line can have a chorus for sure, because everyone can do a different take on it.
Yeah.
But going into that, I mean, having different takes on pedals and doing your own way of having a certain brand. How did you start in pedal building? Were you a guitar player before, or were you an engineer or something?
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. So I started playing guitar as I became 18 because I had a lot of time. Did this, was it in English? I don't know. The civil duty, so 1 year where I have to either go to the army or doing something in social something. I worked at a kindergarten in my hometown, my home village, and I was quite bored. So I got a classic guitar and started to learn guitar. And after a while, as I moved to Berlin, started studying and everything, and discovered electrical guitars and amps and everything. I joined a band. So my former band, the band is still existing, but we're more or less on a break. And I needed new gear. So at this time, I was studying mechanical engineering at the university, and I knew how to solder, and I wanted to save money. So I was just searching on the internet for kits and found stuff at Musikding and all that. I think it was a fast-paced circuit, and it took ages to be delivered. I think I was waiting for 3 weeks.
No.
And yeah, it was. I don't know. I didn't know even why. But in the meantime, I was just searching on the internet and found out about techboard effect layouts, which is a huge DIY page with Vero-based designs. And I just found the pedal which gave the chord tone to the rhythm guitar of this band. Just started to copying that pedal. It was so fun. And I found out it was a Screddy pedal screwdriver. Don't know if you ever heard of.
No.
Screddy pedals. I think the guy who's running the company his name is Mark something. To me, it's one of the best discrete drive pedals. So it's based on a fuzz phase with a mixture of an analog and silicon and germanium transistor, boosted by a MOSFET stage up front. So I wasn't a big fan of the germanium transistor sound, so I replaced with a silicon transistor and just played around a bit with the resistor values to set the bias differently. Yep. And I found out that I was really in love with this kind of tone, with this kind of distortion characteristic. And that was my main pedal for 6 or 7 years. And based on that, I got infected by building pedals because I just dived deeper into the whole DIY scene, what you can build on your own and trying out different things and reading schematics and learning about schematics and figuring out how to change the sound or the whole sound by just one part or just changing the bias.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I was so intrigued by the whole thing. And I said, okay, cool. I'm doing my own custom design for the enclosures and doing my own sounds and everything. And one of the other pedals I was building for the very first time was a Jordan Bostone-based fuzz, which turned into the Fuzzly Bear. And this one was our very first official series model. And the funny story about this one is old school friend of mine who was studying, was it visual communication here in Berlin? He's such a talented drawer and artist. He offered me to do just a design for the pedal. And he did such a great job. I was so excited about his work that we decided to set up a whole corporate design for the company. So everything you see, actually, the logo and the fonts and web page design and the whole thing about the packaging was designed by him. Mm-hmm. So he did almost the whole corporate design and everything. And then we launched the company. And then we got the first order from a German shop at Christmas. So I woke up on the 24th of December 2014, was checking my mails, and there was the first order. Or the first question about, do you sell to dealers and everything? And I was like, oh yeah, I think this is somewhat a sign. And then the whole thing started to roll. The whole feature set on Logan was different what you can find actually on the overdrive market, with all the feature set around and all the kind of hidden gems on the pedal. And there was also a funny incident. What it is called Logan because Steve from our distribution from ADG, we were always talking about low gain, and he understand Logan and was saying, "Oh, is this the name of a pedal?" I was saying, "No," I was saying low gain, but Logan isn't a bad idea. So the pedal got a name of a character. So we thought about how can it fit with the whole different thing, transcending sure. is to go through to cross a certain boundary and doing things differently and just jumping into another sphere somewhat. It turned into a more esoteric thing. Mm-hmm. There's also something you experience when you're playing guitar. You're just drifting in a different sphere. You're being in your own bubble then. And I was just trying to create a certain story about the whole thing. Logan is an old wise animal, just walk through the desert and walk through the mountains and just embracing everything he found on his way and just gather everything and just put it into his character and just then bring it out to the world. And it's a kind of parallel story I had as I was designing the pedal. So what I want to say, to make it short, every pedal has to be a character and telling a story to give the possibility to dive in and being connected with the pedal when you're playing it. It's not like, it shouldn't be only a tool. It has to be inspiring and it has to push your own boundaries, as I was saying before. So, and I think this kind of idea of how to create a product and how to bring it out to the musicians was something our brand was just sticking out somehow. And also because of the designs, because 5 years ago, I think not so many people were using graphical artworks on the pedals. There was Varus and All Blood Noises came out and other smaller companies as well. That was quite new.
It's really interesting to hear you tell that story because it answers a lot of questions that I was going to ask you. And I can tell from your personality that the way your products, your pedals exist, it's certainly a reflection of who you are. So I can tell that you like to tinker with the sounds, as you've said, to replace resistors and change things, but also to tell the story of the pedal to kind of already plant the seeds of inspiration for creativity for the player. Not meaning they can't use it for their own uses and ignore the story, but if someone already has part of a story, and I get asked this a lot with doing pedal demos and talking to people and doing all sorts of demos, how to stand out from the crowd, and all I've learned is that you have to have a story, and people don't buy a green box with 3 knobs on it. They buy the inspiration and the feeling and emotion behind that.
That's the thing. A lot of musicians are emotional characters, and they want to have something they can stick to. Something they can identify with. That helps a lot. I mean, just imagine how many musicians just going out into the wilderness and just creating the best record they ever did. Yeah. For instance, Radiohead and everything. There was the big depressive phase of Tom York, and they created so many great albums. A lot of other stuff just from remote, because they just trying to ground themselves and just trying to run away from the daily routine.
That's the pure essence of art, I guess, is escapism and creating something that wasn't there before as a kind of therapy. But also on the other side, there's some of us who are in covers bands on the weekends, earning $100 through playing top 40 songs. So it's such, I mean, that's also an art.
Yeah.
It's such a wide canvas of art.
Yeah. You have to do something for a living.
Yeah.
At least. And when it's playing in a cover band, it's totally fine. But even in a cover band, you can just find your own sound, which fits to the sound you want to play. And when you're using a pedal which is telling you a certain story, and you're having your own personal connection to the product, it helps you even more to play the essence of the cover song somehow.
I don't think covers bands are any much less. I just think there's I don't want to say less creativity, but there's more obvious choices for covers bands. So, and I think the covers bands, and I'm in covers bands, so I know this, that you might stick with something more well known, sort of in the Boss world, something like this, because that's what the original artists used. But then also, I'm in a covers band where we just play like punk versions of pop songs, and it's purely for fun. We don't gig, we just play together. And for that, I'd absolutely want to throw in something weird and strange that wouldn't be used by the original artist. And there's so many things you can do, and pedals really help you to explore those creative areas. And I want to talk to you about, what do you think the qualities are for going from being a DIY builder to, say, releasing the Logan as an example? So the journey from, enjoying it, because you must enjoy, soldering and stuff and be good at it. But there are so many more steps between learning to solder, designing a pedal, and releasing something with a story. What's missing there from your journey?
What's missing from my journey? I think it was a long process how to figure out how to design the PCB properly, because designing a PCB it's fairly easy, but when it comes to it's just two-dimensional. But when you want to just throw in the PCB with all the potentiometers in the pedal, you figure out it is really different, because the parts having different heights. They have to stick out. You have to screw on the nuts somehow. This was it's a lot of measuring stuff and finding the right parts, because this is the biggest step a lot of DIY people just suffering from. They're having a good product. A lot of people are saying, I want to have this one, and they're ordering a bunch. And for a DIY guy, when you got in about 25 to 30 orders a month, that's quite a lot. When you're at the very beginning of founding your company. And a lot of people suffering from where to get in the pre-drilled enclosures, where get the powder coating in, where get the stuff screen print and everything. The whole structure behind the whole supply chain is the most challenging thing. And it's also something I figured out within the first years. I think it took me 2 years to find a good powder coater here in Berlin.
Wow.
Which is affordable, but also having a decent quality and can deliver quite fast. The actual powder coater can deliver about 200 enclosures in 1 week.
Wow.
on different powders, and it's really good. I mean, it's a big industry company, but it's also an ecological company, which is saying we're not using certain powders which having TGIC, I think it's called, is a really dirty and toxic ingredient, which can be toxic, depends on the concentration.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, this is something you totally underestimate when you want to go from small batch building to a high volume building. And actually, we have to build now about 200 units a month, and this is quite a lot, which is also really challenging when you're doing everything on your own, by means of assembling the PCBs by hand, THD components, soldering stuff on your own, and everything. We went through a long process of changing the PCB designs and how to assembling the stuff. We're getting them in now pre-assembled from Asia, from a quality source. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to handle the whole thing. So supply chain and how to change the way of production is, I think, the key element when it comes to going from a DIY to a proper brand.
Sure.
And on this, at the same time, keeping up the build quality.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you, because I'm dealing with a few people at the moment that come to mind, and they've had a sudden surge. They'd planned the surge, they prepared themselves, but something went wrong, and they're building pedals, and the build quality suffered. Rather than me putting out a demo that says this isn't good enough, of course I called them and said, look, we need to work together on this. You need to change that. And the guy was just exhausted,
Yeah, sure, I can understand.
But we all are, I don't just sit in front of a camera and talk to people. It's a whole business, and there's a part where you have to devote yourself. So from going from a job that is your job to this side hustle that is building pedals or whatever the side hustle is, you have to make that jump at some point. And what was the point at which you made that jump from? Or did you go straight into pedal building? Did it go so smoothly?
No. I was working at the university as I started the whole company thing as a side hustle. It was fun though, because the room in my shared flat turned over into a workshop room with just 2 gangways to my couch, to my bed, and to the window to open up for fresh air. But the rest was covered with shelves. The whole wall was covered with shelves and cardboard boxes with parts and everything. So this was ongoing for about, I think, 1.5 years, till I decided I have to move. I have to separate living and working, because as I came home from my part-time job at the university, I just saw the work on my desk for the pedal stuff, which had to be done. I was saying, okay, renting a workshop, which was a big step for me, because it was like, oh yeah, it seems like it can be a proper business. So we're renting a 20 square meter workshop, and then just going from work at home, eating, going from home after the work to the workshop, and building pending orders or fulfilling pending orders. It was the main thing for 2 years, 2.5 years, yeah. And then my former colleague and business partner came in, which was also the drummer of our band, and so we said, let's do this together, because he was offering help a lot of time, and I'm the kind of person who's saying, I can handle it on my own. I can do it. I can't pay it because the turnover isn't enough to pay another person. It doesn't work. He was saying, I don't want to get paid. I just want to help you. I just want to help you build the whole business. And then we were running the business together from, I think, 2016 till 2019. And then we decided just to make the jump that I'm doing the pedal business full time. That was after I was working. I was working in Iceland for 3 months after I finished my studies to get a different point of view of a whole living and everything. I mean, the business was still running on the side, and the orders wasn't the amount of orders were not so high during this time. It helped a lot to do this, and after I came back, I needed a job, of course, also part time. So I was working for an online educational service and writing history lectures and math tasks and everything. Which was fun, which was a kind of easy job, and it was quite relaxing. And after this job, I was always going to the workshop till 1, 2, 3 in the night, building stuff, going home, going to work in the office the next day, and everything. It was quite stressful, because business was growing, and we were thinking it was the right time to say, okay, no, let's quit the other part-time job and doing the full-time. If it's not working, it's not working. If it's working, it's all good. And it worked out pretty well, because I had the time to do everything even more properly, pay more attention on the quality, improving the main construction of the pedals, so we were able to manufacture them faster. I was able to concentrate more on marketing, more on new products. Because to be honest, in that big industry, new products means new turnover, which is a normal thing, which is just...
You have to keep growing. You can't just keep pushing out the same thing.
No, it doesn't work.
Even when you do, you become a larger company, in 30 years you'll be reissuing that thing, and then renewing the new ones, and creating that fantasy that the originals were better and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and we know what's happening to those kind of companies. So
we do.
And also, it's a thing when you want to be creative, and when you want to create new sounds, and when you want to create new pedals and everything. It's just the natural way, designing new stuff and bringing it out when you're having the time for it.
Well, the thing is, Enrico, if one's main goal in life was to make money, I don't think starting a pedal company or starting a YouTube channel from my side is the first choice that one should make.
Of course not.
So we're coming from...
It's about passion.
Exactly. We're coming from a very passionate, very natural, very organic, very internal source of motivation. And that can change, of course, as time goes on, when suddenly money becomes kind of enticing and sometimes toxic. But most of the people I speak to in this series are self-made people, and certainly very passionate people. I haven't yet met one person who said, well, I wanted money, so I started learning how to solder. And people ask me very often, I'm looking for a career in this, and that's why we do this series. I want to make money. How do I make money out of that? I said, well, that's the wrong question. The right question.
It is definitely the wrong question.
The right question may be something like, how can you learn to survive on the money you will make, or on the living you will provide yourself? So it'd be a side hustle, or an actual part-time job, or a full-time job. Are you willing to give up everything of your spare time to do the thing that you want to do? And that goes for guitar playing as well. For all those side hustles and dreams that we have.
Well, I'm usually telling people when they're asking for how can I found my own company, and how can I start to build pedals and being successful. I'm always saying, don't do it if you're not passionate about what you're doing. Otherwise, you will just being fucked, because it's not about making money.
No.
Keep in mind that you have to. You're killing all your free time. You're killing all your spare time. When you're being self-employed, you're working constantly every day, every minute of your day, and you have to be able to keep your own work-life balance somehow. If you're not able to, you just drown. You will drown in work. You will drown in stress and everything, which is not a good thing.
No.
Yeah.
What you said about having the work-life balance earlier rang very deep with me, about the fact that, because I'm in my house right now, I'm in the basement, and of course it's a financial choice. because I have a basement, and okay, but I'm reaching a point now where I'm thinking, I need to get out of this basement, because part of the conversation, I don't know if you heard them, but my son was screaming outside.
Yeah.
And of course, the dad in me wants to go, I know exactly what he wants. He wants just me. And then his mum would be there going, come on, daddy's working. And that's so tough to hear my kids playing outside as well, on the really positive side. So, yeah, I mean, I don't believe that anyone should take pity on me, for sure. I love it. I love everything. But the fact that you said about having somewhere outside of home to work, and that made a difference, that's a step not for a beginner or someone starting off in their business, but certainly you're going to reach that point at some point, if things go well, If you're constantly growing, you need to... It's like when Whoa, hang on. Are you ready for this? It's when a plant grows and you need to take it out of the pot and put it in a bigger pot.
Sure. Otherwise, it won't grow anymore.
It won't grow anymore, and it'll die.
You're not having enough minerals. Yeah, that's the thing. And I had these issues quite often because, especially during the COVID time now, I was also working from home because my employees were working here. Both of them are part-time. And I was saying just one person at the time has to be at the workshop to reduce the infection, to the risk of being infected. And then I figured out after I was scheduling the plan that they're being part-time and I'm being full-time. That means the whole week the workshop is occupied by them. So I can't go to the workshop. So I had to work from home. I was building about, 80 series at home. These ones here. With testing, manufacturing, assembling them, everything was just pretty tough. And my actual room is about 12 square meters. I'm still living in a shared flat, and it wasn't that good. It wasn't good. You shouldn't combine living and working at the same spot. I mean, it depends on. I mean, you're having a basement, which is totally fine.
Yes,
which works pretty well because there's a door which you can close. And nothing else takes place in your basement besides your work, and that's good. And it works pretty well. But I think most of the DIY people, which are not having a bigger apartment where they can separate the workshop room from the living room or from the sleeping room and everything, it can be very toxic, especially when the business is growing.
Sure.
Or when you're not making the step.
What do you do, like personally, for a hobby, or when you feel that things are too toxic for you and you're stressed out? What sort of things do you beat that stress with?
Well, there's something actually I just learned a couple of months ago because I was working like a damn stupid machine the last 2 to 3 years. So like 10 to 14 hours a day, mostly 6 or 7 days a week. Because it was mandatory to keep up with the orders before we changed the production into SMT assembly. And now I'm doing sports. So I'm doing yoga. I'm trying to keep up with yoga almost every day, even when it's just a 10-minute session. I'm really enjoying having 30 minutes of yoga in the morning, which is really good. I also changed my nutrition. Quite a lot more healthy stuff, more about the stuff you really need, and also being full with eating this stuff, and just being outside, reading books, enjoying the sun, especially in the summertime. I mean, we're so lucky in Berlin that we're having a lot of green parks and a lot of green areas, and we can really enjoy it. And I really love to cycle, and that's something which will mostly just clear up my head a lot. Because I'm mostly a really fast cyclist, which varies by parents and friends sometimes. But I'm always careful. Okay. But that's the thing when you're listening to your favorite music and being on a bike and just can go full blast is the best what you can do when then afterwards you're exhausted and just feeling happy. So mainly I was just cutting down my work hours to reduce stress. Better nutrition, sports, moving.
Do you find that made you more efficient during your work hours?
Yes, definitely. Because it's not like you're not saying, okay, I worked already 6 to 8 hours. Now I'm having, 4 more hours to work, no stress, can do it. So and now it's like, okay, I'm working for 8 to 9 hours today max. I want to achieve this, and just trying to be more focused and more efficient on doing this stuff. And having a better structure. I mean, I had a really good structure before. It's not like I wasn't. I haven't had any structure, but it helps you a lot to be more focused and being more relaxed, and it helps you a lot to go through the day.
I need stress to function.
Yeah.
Stress helps me function, and I'm coming out of that way of belief now. And to go to my business, my YouTube channel is thriving because of it. I was making what I thought were good quality, informative, entertaining videos that people were enjoying. But then I was editing them to make them more fun, because I was actually inside going, I've only got an hour to do this video and I've just messed up that playing, you know? And I've taken on a new way of working where I just have fun and make sure that gets across, and you know, make sure that all the things that need to be done. You know, if you're going to demo a pedal or a guitar or something, you need to do a certain list of things. But yeah, there's a thing called Anderson's Law. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's
no, never heard of.
If you have 10 hours to complete something, it will take you 10 hours. If you have 5 hours to complete something, it will take you 5 hours, and the results between those two projects will not be that different. And I have to remind myself of that daily.
Yeah. Is this kind of law about what you can achieve? You can achieve 80% of the stuff you want to achieve in 20% of the hours you're doing the stuff?
Yes.
And the last 20% takes you 80% of the hours you have to spend on.
Yes.
Yeah. This is about the perfection. When we're all being so absolutely having a high level of OCD kicking in and being a perfectionist, that kills us somehow. I mean, we're having a high level of quality, and we're trying to keep up a high level of quality even from the outside. Even as you can see, the nuts on the foot switches here, they're parallel to the edges of the enclosures. Because I don't want to. This is something which is more going into your subconsciousness.
I listened. Sorry, I've got to stop you there, Enrico. Can you show me that again? Because I listened, but I didn't listen properly. Now I see it. Okay, sorry, it went past me. I was
all good. That's the thing.
That is OCD. That's OCD.
Yeah, but this is minor things. If you're not having this kind of nuts parallel to the edge of the enclosure, there's something that will distract you from the main thing of the pedal, which is the artwork and the whole idea. It kind of distracts the main feeling when you're looking at the pedal.
So trying to find another pedal to see if that's true on any pedals I have.
Do it.
Yes, it is. There's a few I'm looking. I'm not going to name any, but there's a few I'm seeing that are.
What you can also do is just looking at the input and output checks.
That's weird because I am about the little details, and sometimes when you look at something, I've been looking at cars recently, and there were two that were exactly the same color, exactly the same model, exactly the same not exactly the same price, but the price was negligible. But for some reason, I like the look of one more than I like the look of the other one, and it's the same car.
It's just about the
it turned out that the wheels, the logo on the wheel cover were parallel with the ground, and one of them was wonky. And that's a ridiculous thing to say, because of course when you drive that car, it's going to change. But to my eye,
you're feeling better.
Yeah. So it must happen with pedals and things like that. We don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous. We're feeling it on some deep level. Yeah. And also, sorry, from the pedal point of view there, as a reviewer and appreciator of pedal art as well, if someone's gone to that level of detail on the outside, you know that the same level of detail is on the inside. And then we're talking quality now. So these final small things are actually the big things.
Yeah, and that's the thing what makes pedals then pretty reliable. What you can see here, we're having always trying to have daughter boards for the jacks here, we're usually having one here as well for the foot switches. But having always the same quality, that we can achieve the same solder joints on every pedal that's working properly. And in case of any kind of malfunction, we can just swap the parts pretty easy, and having always the same quality, to keep up the same quality. Because when you wiring the stuff directly on the solder locks on foot switches and so on, you can heat them up too much, and then you can the connection can get loose, and then having a malfunction, which can work when you're testing the stuff, but maybe fail when the customer is having the pedal and using it for, I don't know, a year or something. Yeah, I'm pretty detailed when it comes to the quality from the internal point of view and also from the outside. But what I wanted to say, my best friend Jacob, I'm also actually living with, he's a big fan of Apple products. And in the very beginning of the company, he was saying, why are the nuts so nut oriented? Why is there not an orientation? Why does it look so untidy? He was always quoting Steve Jobs, it has to be tidy even on the inside when no customer is seeing what's going on there.
Yes.
That was kind of a key moment where I thought, okay, yeah, I mean, it takes more time, but let's give it a go. And it felt just better when you're watching, when you're looking at the pedal. He was also doing one of the first product shots of the products, of the pedals, for marketing purpose. And yeah, he was saying, please set the nuts properly, parallel to the edges and everything, that looks more tidy. Yeah, we kept it. I kept it. It was burned just into my head. It has to be done like this.
That's great. That's a great work ethic. Also, when you have rules like that, it's very easy to make a pedal when you're in automatic pilot mode.
Yeah, sure.
You stay focused. And I've built a few kits. I've done I've broken a few pots by overheating them. You know, I've done those things.
Always happen.
But if you know exactly what you're aiming for, then it's a very clear goal. And I've learned that is extremely important when doing any project. If you don't know where you're going, then you're probably not going to get there.
No, of course not. Because you can't finish properly, because you don't know. Am I ready? Am I done with the project or not? Do I have to add something or not? Stuff like that. I mean, it's always something we're going through every new product. What kind of feature shall we add? What kind of internal feature? What kind of external feature? Where to put the jacks? Put them on top, put them on the side, having kind of secondary inputs like expression pedal inputs or tap tempo inputs and everything. It's always trying to find a balance and then to say, okay, we're going to stop here. This is the feature set, done. And when people not complaining or just giving a feedback that we could add this feature or that feature or that feature or that feature, we're just putting it on a list and taking it into account for the next product.
Great.
Because you can't cover every ground, and the community helps a lot. There's also something I wanted to say. The whole company work is not something which is only coming from me and my employees. It's a big community thing. Because I'm having a lot of friends helping out with editing, with promo shots for video releases, for artworks and everything, and a lot of feedback coming in from external. And it's like my former business partner Wieland, the drummer, was a big fan of Queens of the Stone Age, and the Queen of the Stone Age projects and records were always based on big collaboration of a lot of musicians, a lot of producers. Just for instance, in Desert Sessions, there are so many guest musicians, which giving their own thing to the final product. I call a product to the final work of art. It's not only the work of just one person. It's always a big thing about the community, which I really like, which is really cool.
I respect that, and that's a great way to also get your market research done as well. But how do you I guess you make the final decisions, you personally, because someone needs to actually make that final yes or no decisions.
Yeah. I mean, since we started to work with the distribution, with the audio distribution group, which was a big help for us to increase the whole business. We're talking a lot of about features and new products, and shall we keep up with this or shall we do this? We're having mostly quite long discussions about product features and everything, and we're mostly agreeing together. That's saying, right. Okay, let's stick to this. Let's do it that way, because all of them are musicians. One is a bass player, the other one is a keyboard player, and we're also having a guitarist with its own demo channel, which is giving us a lot of feedback, which helps a lot. So by the very end, it's then me saying, okay, we're doing this now.
Great.
Because I'm in charge for ordering the stuff and doing the PCB designs and everything, and saying, okay, I'm going to ordering the stuff now. Will it work? I don't know. We'll see. The community will tell in the very end.
Is there, or can you recall a moment in which you made a decision and then you changed your mind because someone else influenced you recently? Like you made the wrong call, and how easy is it as a, if I may say, someone with OCD, someone with, with a very clear goal, how easy is it for you to change your mind like that?
It's pretty hard. Because when you're having your idea and you want to stick with this, it's really hard, especially when you're seeing, okay, we should have added this feature, but you can't, because then you have to change the whole artwork, the whole templates, the whole concept of a pedal just by one additional feature. Then it's like, oh, shit, I want to do, but I can't, and I also don't want to, because sometimes this product is still in production, and will definitely bump into some issues with the customers who already bought the pedal. And it can be really hard. Like when we're in the phase of developing, it's quite easy, because then we're just changing the concept of the whole thing. And I'm always open for input. It's not like I'm so stubborn and saying, no, I don't want to have a clean blend, or I want to have this LED clipping on it. I'm always trying to find a way to take the actual the actual needs of the musicians into account for designing a product. There are some points I missed out on certain products. For instance, the dead stack. The dead stack is having, I'm not having a unit here actually, but is having a fully parametric mid EQ. So it's based on a big buff, and I've never been a fan of the tone stack, because it's either thick and boomy but pretty lacking of hay, or just ice picky without low end. So designed a whole 3-band active EQ section with this mid EQ. And a lot of people were asking, can I control the mid sweep by an expression pedal? I was always saying, no, you can't. Unfortunately, no, but it's a cool feature. The lack of this possibility took then place in our Logan. So we took the feedback of the customers and implementing the mid EQ section with an external controllable mid sweep on the Logan, and people loved it. So it's mostly the way to go when we're figuring out, okay, there's something we could have adding, because we're not a big fan of releasing a V2, a V3 and stuff like this, because we're always having potential for a new product. Sure. Having a different point of view on the product and adding other features, because this is always a really organic and natural process when you're designing something. Just thinking about, I don't know, Ford would release a V2 of a Mustang, which is based on an old chassis, but with a high class interior design with GPS and all touchscreen. I mean, it would be nice, but it's not the thing. It's not the way to go. Everything is an organic process of growing, and ideas changing and needs changing. So just mostly taking the feedback we're getting into new products. Then, but coming back to your main question, it can be really hard to say, okay, no, let's kick out this feature and taking in this feature. But I'm always open, because when I don't know everything, and I don't know every purpose of a pedal. Well, so you should be open.
I respect that, and also the way that you've set that ethic is you're also letting your customer base do the work for you. You know, so you're thinking of a new product, and as you said, you have this list. Okay, this is what the customers want. This is what our customers want, and then of course you apply your own ideas to that. And suddenly, maybe not the work, I'm not saying that you're being lazy by not doing the work, but certainly decisions can be helped along. And that's market research at the very least.
Yeah, and there's the thing, you have to keep your eyes open. Because especially when we're talking, this whole series is about giving tips to DIY people. And a lot of DIY people just saying, I like this feature. It's a product I want to sell to people. But sometimes it doesn't fit at all. And there's also the reason why people then, let me say, failing. I mean, you can't say they fail because they didn't build up a big brand.
You can fail, but then you have to choose whether to get back up again. You know, that's what you're saying. Yeah.
And you have to be open for input.
I think we're giving two sides of the same argument, though, because we're saying, be passionate about what it is you're doing. So, for example, I really love an overdrive pedal sound, but then if the market doesn't want it, all right, well, I've got to put that passion aside for a moment. And if I want to continue the business, I've got to give a little, But then when people are listening to my products or my videos or whatever, then I can bring that one back and people will be more rewarded by it.
Yeah, I would say you can't separate those two sides from each other, because it's a really symbiotic process. You can also be passionate about designing a circuit and designing a pedal and adding a new feature that people really like and would use when they're making music. But this doesn't mean just because you're taking the ideas or not taking, just listening to the ideas and the input of your customer base, that you can't be passionate about designing the product that fits to their needs. Because the most important thing is even then keeping up the passion about your product you're designing and doing, and giving it your own twist. Because it's mostly just a small feature which has to be added, which doesn't change the core tone of the whole idea or the whole design. Mostly it's to control stuff from the external. From the outside. As I was saying, the expression pedal input or control voltage input to modulate things. Yes. Or an additional tap tempo input on tap tempo based pedals and stuff like this. That doesn't change the whole idea of your pedal. So I think it's just going hand in hand. It's not something which exclude each other.
Well, that's good. So if you can get it that way, then everybody wins, I guess. There's two main questions I'd like to ask you now in our remaining time, and that is,
go ahead.
and you can order them and answer them any order you want. But the one is, what's the one thing you did that you're most proud of? So as a decision from a business point of view. So you started off as a DIY guy, and now you have a distribution company supporting you. So there's a big jump there. What's the best decision you made that helped, looking back, facilitate that journey? And also, what's the biggest mistake that you've made? Is there one that keeps you awake at night so people can avoid it?
The best thing is taking opportunities, seeing the opportunities, and being brave enough to take on them. But always being curious about and asking yourself, is it a good decision or is it not a good decision? The best decision for me or for us, company-wise, was working with the distribution group, with our distribution group, because they're helping to build up brands. But then also you have to act symbiotic. You have to listen to them, and you have to tell them what you think. And it's about discussions and find a consensus when it comes to certain issues. But the best decision was working with Audio Distribution Group, I guess, because they're having the network, and they were pushing the brand a lot.
I know. That's why we're here today.
Yeah. And the worst decision, can't really say, because it's not about it's not about bad decisions. You shouldn't handle a decision which brought failed with you as a bad decision, because every decision leads you to something you learn, and it's always a journey to about experience. So I don't regret any decision I make. I'm just trying to keep up with the decisions and to have a look at if it was a good decision or if it was a bad decision. I'm pretty sure I did a lot of bad decisions as well. But when I'm looking at the company and how everything is working, actually, I think they haven't been so bad at all. But it's just about the small things, which is also covering private life. Especially when you're saying I'm working a lot and just don't be a part of the social life with your friends and everything. That was for a certain time, it was a really bad decision to me. And I was a bit more excluded from everything. But it was somehow for good reason that I can live from the company and everything is doing well. I'm having 2 employees and can give them 2 jobs.
Sure.
So in the very end, it's quite good, I guess. Yeah, no, just trying to learn from everything, from day to day, daily routine, and making decisions.
That's
trying to stay positive about bad decisions.
That's what I was about to say. It seems that to be where you are currently, you've made more good decisions than you have bad. So as long as you learn from the bad ones, and that's the only thing that matters, that you learn from the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's next for KMA Audio Machines? What can we expect?
New products, new pedals, which actually don't want to talk about because we're having a policy to keep it under the blanket till it's ready, until it's done. But it will be great. The next 1.5 to 2 years, I think we're having a lot of good ideas coming out, especially with all the input we got from the community, with all the knowledge I got from the recent development of the series, all the DSP-based stuff, all the digital stuff. And there's a lot of ground to cover. And I'm having a lot of ideas. And all we have to do is trying to find time to go into development, because it's just running like hell. People ordering stuff. I mean, we're having actually dealers around the world. I don't know, about 100.
Wow.
In almost every, in a lot of countries. And yeah, I think more products, more cool products, more interesting ideas, more different approaches, more multicolor designs, and yeah, will be good.
Well, I wish you the very best of luck with it, man. It's been an absolute joy talking to you, and I've learned something, and I always do with these conversations. I learn something, and then I try then to apply it to my work ethic. And I'm going to do that by going outside and playing with my kids for an hour in the garden. So the rest,
please do it.
The rest can stay. I'll do something later tonight.
The good thing is the world keeps turning. Even though when you're just saying, okay, it's Friday, let's quit for today, let's have a break, let's enjoy the weekend, it doesn't matter. So this is something I learned the last couple of months, and it's really important.
Yeah,
you need a balance in life to enjoy life, especially when having kids.
Yes. Well, Enrico, thank you so much for your time. There will be all kinds of. You're very, very welcome, genuinely, and there's links and stuff in the video description. Best of luck with KMA Audio Machines.
Thank you. Okay. To you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.